Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I want to divert a little bit now and not just talk about the children, but talk about you as parents and or your parents. In the next few weeks I'm going to be uploading a lot of podcasts on the different types of parenting styles, and you might find them really interesting in terms of looking at yourself or the father or the mother of your child or your parents or their parents, because parents come in all different flavours. And we pass on some of these learned and genetic features of being a parent. Therefore, it's really important for us to understand what kind of parenting we came out of, also what kind of parents we want to be with our children. The first parent I'm going to do today is the angry parent, because I think right now there's a lot of angry parents because the world is a bit messy and I think people are a bit cranky right now. If you are an angry parent, you need to understand where your anger comes from. And that's the most important thing as a parent. And also, if you are looking at your parents, perhaps you've had parents who are angry, to understand where it came from. Very often children think the anger's from them, and sometimes it is. Maybe they mess up or fight with their sister and hit her on the head with a stick. Those are sort of things that are kind of obvious. However, your response to it is what I'm talking about, your response to that situation, which is either coming from a loving and disciplining point of view or just coming from an angry response and screaming and yelling and maybe even hitting them back. The angry parent is a dangerous parent, actually, because when we're angry, we lash out and we do things and say things that we can't really take back. If you're an angry parent, and you know you are, you need to really look at you, because this is coming from you. This is your anger being triggered. Perhaps you were angry the way you were brought up. Perhaps you weren't treated well. Maybe things aren't going well in your life right now and you're really angry about work or families or friends or situations or your finances. Therefore, you already have this huge volcano of anger. When your children do something, you just overreact. That's what's happening. Because you don't have to be angry with your kids. You just have to speak to them. You have to speak to them and then guide them in the right direction. And anger's not going to help at all. The other thing you might need to look at is if you're angry, it could be coming from your parents. Maybe one of your parents was angry, and maybe they didn't treat you in the way you wanted, and so then you became angry with them. So there's this push-pull all the time in your childhood and teenage years. If your parents were angry people and were always telling you off and hitting you and screaming at you, you're going to very easily learn how to do that from them. They were such good teachers, and now you can do that to your kids. No one can stop you because you're in your house and the front door's closed. The way you need to approach this is actually to deal with your own anger issues. Start looking at it and letting go of the anger. Just let it go, and the rage and the hate and the resentment and the bitterness that you are holding, and let that go. Because then it's not going to be like the volcano when somebody accidentally, smashes the window with a cricket ball. You won't go off your face. You'll just go, oh, wow, that was a good hit, and make some joke about it and then get it fixed. Children will be scared of you if you're angry, and you keep your children in a state of fear and anxiety because they never know when you're going to go off. They are not relaxed. They will be more nervy. They might have digestion problems and also sleeping problems. And that's on you because you're angry with them a lot of the time. Your response to them is always anger, always screaming, always yelling, always saying mean things and maybe even hitting them and then sending them to their room. They're always getting time out. They spend their life in time out and being grounded and losing their screens because your anger makes you do that. And I want you to really have a look at that. It's not good. It's not healthy. And you're going to build up the same relationship that you've got with your angry parents that they will now have with you. And when they get older, you'll both be angry with each other, and that's not going to be good for your relationship. There are things you can do. You can let it go. You can use lots of modalities to release your anger. You can own it as your own. That's the biggest thing to do because it's your stuff. You didn't have to go off your head like that when, the dog was brought in and it ripped something in and you told the kids to take the dog out. You just have to be more calm, come from a calm, loving space, and have a bit of a humour with it. Lots of funny things when you have kids, they really do. And if you take a little bit of humour with it, it kind of dissipates the anger. You can also go to anger management, because if you're angry with your child, you're possibly angry with your partner. And they might have even said to you, you're always so grumpy, you're always so angry. So you might want to go to anger management, and you might want to go and get some counselling and some therapy around it. It's a learned response. The trouble is that you learned it, and now you use that as your first thing to everything, all over the place. And you always carry on and swearing and whatever, because you're actually angry about other things, and that's what I want you to look at. It is important we be loving, good parents. And it's also important to control your anger. Sometimes if you're angry, we know how to, if we're at work, we can't scream at the boss and, throw a cup of coffee on the floor and have a temper tantrum. So we hold it. And that's also the problem, that if you keep holding it, it sort of comes out in other parts of your life. That's what they talk about, that people are their whipping boy or the scapegoat, because that other person who doesn't really deserve to get that reaction is getting it, because you can't do it directly to who you're angry with. If you talk to your kids about it and say to them, like, I've been a bit angry lately, it's my stuff, I'm going to try and control it and be better, but you need to help out by not trying to be difficult. If I ask you to do something, I want you to help me and we work together. I think you can really work it out really, really well. It's a working relationship. That's what you've got, a working relationship with your kids. And this is an area where I think you have to be taking control of, because it can get dangerous. It's something when you scream and yell at a 3-year-old, but you try and do that with someone who's 18 years old and you might get a very different reaction. It can get quite nasty and violent. And also they don't want to be around you. They won't want to be around you as they get older, because all you do is be an angry aunt. I started with this one because I felt this was the most powerful, and in some ways one of the most damaging methods of parenting, the angry parent. And I feel that if we can stop being angry about everything and let it go, make a joke about it, own it, be good to our kids, that the relationship with them will be better and better. And as they become teenagers, they come to trust us. And they're not nervy all the time, because if you've been brought up in a house where the parents were angry and screaming and yelling, it creates like an anxiety that doesn't go away. It's like free floating, and that stays with you. And for some people, that can stay with them for life. And they can also suffer from PTSD, having come out of those kind of environments, and you don't want your kids to have to do that. So sometimes it's just better to be quiet, even leave the room, get a bit of space, cool down, come back, and then deal with it. Anger's dangerous, and it's got no really good value when it's lashed on someone else. No good value at all. So I'm going to leave you with that this week, and I hope you have a nice week with your kids. Sending you lots of love and lots of light.